Does Milwaukee's new high torque impact wrench have the goods to make you switch? This is the brand new model 2967 from Milwaukee. It's their half-inch high torque impact wrench. Has 4 power modes, has a new battery isolator. What does that mean? We'll explain in just a moment. We'll also explain more of the details with the 5.0 battery, which it's kitted with, or you can get it as a bare tool, as well as the new Forge battery, where they're claiming some astronomical numbers, as well as a faster charger for the Forge batteries and your existing M18 batteries. Let's get started. This is the brand new Milwaukee M18 Fuel 2967, which is their half-inch high torque impact wrench. Brand new. We just saw this at the Pipeline event a few weeks ago. Finally got our hands on one. Now, this is paired with 2 of the XC 5.0 batteries. However, they did a lot of their testing with the new M18 Forge batteries. And they also published some pretty crazy numbers with the Forge battery. So we may test both of these. So pretty cool new Forge batteries. We'll go over those in just a moment. But anyway, here's the 2967. Let's get this out. So this is the model number 2967. If you get it bare tool, it'll be a -20. If you get the kit, it'd be a -22, which is going to come with 2 of the 5 amp hour batteries and the M12/M18 charger and the gorgeous blow molded carrying case, of course. Anyway, so this is the new high torque impact wrench. One of the things you'll notice right away, there's a little bit of bounce in its step, and that actually comes from the brand new battery isolator here. So basically that's going to really protect a lot of the circuitry and the battery and wiring connections from the battery to the tool. So we'll go over that here in just one moment, but you will notice that, again, a little bit of spring in its step right there. Now, it's replacing a couple of models. This is the 2863, which is the high torque with 1 key, but there is a little bit of difference in the size as well as some of the controls on here, and obviously kind of the whole front snout there is quite a bit different. Number one, if you'll take a look right there on the front, you'll see that something that we had on the mid-torque for a couple of years now, and that's the tri-LED light right there on the front of the tool. So no more are we requiring that light to shine up from the bottom and hopefully get somewhere around the fastener. Now we're literally surrounding that fastener where we want that light with 3 LEDs surrounding that socket, surrounding that fastener where we actually need it. So we love to see that. Been waiting for that to happen, and it shortened up a little bit on that as well. Let's get a measurement here in 1 second, but you'll see right there side by side about 3/4 of an inch difference from the front to the back of those tools. So saving a little space on this, and we're upping the horsepower, not the horsepower, we're upping the torque on this as well. So we're going to a full 1,600 foot-pounds of breakaway torque when using the Forge batteries. I believe it's 1,500 foot-pounds with the 5.0 batteries, and we'll be testing that here in a few moments. Now, you do get a half-inch hog ring style anvil or friction ring. Now, you can get this in a push-button detent. However, because of the hole in the anvil, they literally detune the impact wrench so it's not as powerful as the friction ring anvil, because you basically have a void in that anvil and you'll start breaking anvils if we had the same amount of power. So if you do elect to go to the pin detent, it does have less power because they've programmed it that way to keep from snapping those anvils. Now, right here down on the mode section, you'll see that we have 3 different modes, 3 different power modes, and then we have another mode which is basically our auto mode. So basically it's auto shut off when in tightening, and when loosening, we're going to call that bolt removal mode. And what that's going to do is, if you're loosening, it's going to provide 100% power, and then as soon as it breaks that free, it's really going to slow the tool down. And then on with that same mode on, that 4th mode, when you're tightening, as soon as it senses that it's somewhat snug, it's actually going to shut the tool off. And they claim that it won't do any more than 50 foot-pounds. So you could, put your lug nuts on in that auto mode, let it shut off, and then come back with your torque wrench and set the proper torque on those lug nuts or whatever other type of critical fastener that you're working with. Now, when you are dealing with the different modes, you're going to have a different max RPM. So we get a brushless motor, variable speed trigger, so we can still, go as slow as we want to with that. But in the low speed, in speed 1, you're going to get up to 700 RPM and up to 1,300 impacts per minute. Now, if we're in mode 2, then we're going to get up to 1,300 RPM and up to 2,100 impacts per minute. And then in mode 3 is going to give us a full 2,000 RPM and up to 2,400 impacts per minute. Now, both the RPM and the IPM, or impacts per minute, that's going to go along obviously with the amount of trigger pull that you've got in there. So even though I've got it on mode 3, I can still, again, make this go as slow as I want. So you're going to have the slower RPM and at the same time the less IPM, or impacts per minute, as well. Now let's take a closer look down here. Let's take this battery off, and we'll see now, rather than just seeing the bottom of the tool, and let's compare it to our old tool. So you can see here on our old tool, basically we had the base of the tool. This was all part of the unit. And now in here we have this black isolator box. Now we have a couple of pads right here that's going to basically keep tension on the battery. And then this whole piece right here is actually going to flex inside of the tool, which again is going to allow these connections to stay tight, as well as to keep the battery from vibrating loose or causing any electronic problems or any battery problems. So again, that isolator that I believe we first saw this from Milwaukee on the 1-inch extended anvil impact wrench, and now we're starting to see it carried down to, this is the high torque impact wrench, and we're seeing that same type of battery isolation, which is going to really do a good job of isolating those vibrations to the actual tool and not coming down to the battery and the electronics. Now with the 5.0 battery, the height on this is going to be right at 11.25 inches tall, and front to back on this is right at 7.5 inches. I don't believe width wise we've changed much, but we'll actually check it there. At the widest point we're right at 3 inches, so not crazy wide for such a powerful tool. Now, obviously, that's going to change, the height depending on what battery we're using, but we're still in that same ballpark. Now, with the 5 amp hour battery, you're looking at 7 pounds 9 ounces. Without the battery, 5 pounds 15 ounces, and then with the forged 6.0, 8 pounds half an ounce. So we're not really gaining that. We're right at 8 pounds. So really not gaining much on that 6.0 battery. In fact, 1 pound 1.97, 1 pound 9.7 ounces, 2 pounds 1.2 ounces. So not a lot of difference between these two batteries. So again, right at 8 pounds with the battery on the tool. Now real quick, on the new Forge battery, you see the different gauge setup there, different button, a little easier button to push, a little bit larger, and doesn't take as much pressure as the older one. And instead of kind of the stair step design, we just got 4 lights beside one another. So a little bit different of a battery, a little bit, I would say, kind of more of a blackout. Yeah, actually, we get more red lines there, but anyway, a little different design, same 2-button approach from side to side. So the locking mechanism has not changed, but just a little different look, and supposedly a lot faster to charge, as well as even more power output. Now, if you combine the Forge battery with the brand new dual port supercharger, you can charge a dead battery to full in like 15 to 20 minutes with the new supercharger. And you could do 2 batteries in about 35 minutes. And we were super impressed with the new dual port supercharger. Now let's compare the bare tool, 6 pounds, 5 pounds 15 ounces. So less weight, even shorter tool. So you're getting a shorter and lighter tool, but with more power and more light. So let's take this. We'll take the 5.0 batteries. We'll also take the Forge batteries and take it over to our test bench and see what we think. Okay, let's get started here. We're going to test out the new high torque impact wrench, the 2967. we're going to take our torque setting tool and we're going to set these starting at 100 foot-pounds and go up 100 foot-pounds from there all the way across here. So we go 100, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1,000 and 1,100 foot-pounds. So let's get these tightened up and then we'll get started. So if you haven't seen our impact wrenches tested before, what we're going to do is put this in mode 3, so the 100% mode, so that we can get the most out of this. We're going to start with the XC 5.0 battery, and we have our socket on here. You can see that indexed in 3 different places are some different, some of these are colored, some of them not, but basically you got index marks so you can watch that socket move, so we can see the socket move, because we're going to allow this 10 seconds on each fastener to break it free. Now, if it breaks it free before that, we move on to the next. If it does not break it free within 10 seconds, then it doesn't score that point and we stop there. Now, if it's breaking it free within that 10 seconds, we will go ahead and let it finish doing so. So we're going to start at 100 foot-pounds and go up from there. And remember, we have 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, 1,000, and 1,100 foot-pounds to start. Now, once we get through that, which we anticipate we will rather quickly, we'll start back over on these largest fasteners and start at 1,200 foot-pounds. So let's get started at 100. Again, power mode 3, and we have a full battery. Let's make sure we're in reverse. There we go. Okay, no problem so far getting through the 700 foot-pounds. Okay, so now we're down at 800 foot-pounds. So we're starting on the largest fasteners. You can see we have an index mark there on the socket. We are in mode 3. We have a full battery. Let's make sure we're in reverse. Yep, we're in reverse. Here we go at 800 foot-pounds. Not a problem with 1,100. Okay, now we're going to tighten these up to 1,200, 1,300, 1,400, and 1,500 foot-pounds. All right, we're back at it. We still have a full battery, and let's go to mode 3. Let's make sure we're in reverse. Yep, we're in reverse. Now we are at 1,200 foot-pounds, so 12, 13, 14, and 1,500. Here we go. Okay, in both these last two, it might have taken longer than 10 seconds, but the fastener was moving within that 10-second range, so that's why we let it go ahead. So we've now eclipsed the 1,500 foot-pounds, and we're still on the 5.0 battery. Let's see if we've dropped a cell. Yeah, it looks like we've dropped one cell. We'll go ahead and throw a fresh one on there and get restarted. All right, here we are again. Let's make sure we have a full battery. Yes, have a full battery. We're in mode 3. Let's make sure we are in reverse. And now we're starting at 1,600 foot-pounds, 16, 17, 18, and 1,900. Keep an eye on this index mark. It'll tell you whether we're moving or not. Okay, we're really getting into insane range here. Speed 3, mode 3, still full battery, which we've been changing out the battery, and should be in reverse. And by the way, this was about a brand new socket when we started. You can see it's already starting to mushroom out, which tells you we're really beyond a half-inch anvil, really and truly. But we're still going to test. So 2,000 foot-pounds, 2,100, 2,200, 2,300. Okay, we did not move that in 10 seconds. It stayed right there. It might have nudged at the very beginning. I think that was just setting on the nut, but after 10 seconds, it was not moving from that spot. So with the 5 amp hour battery, we're claiming 2,000 foot-pounds, not quite getting to 2,100. I'm going to reset this at 2,100 just in case it moved at all. We're going to go to the Forge battery, see how much further we can go. Okay, now we've got on our Forge XC 6.0 battery, full battery. Again, mode 3, we're in reverse, 2,100 foot-pounds. Okay, maybe it did. Got 2,200. Let's go to 23. Okay, let's try this again. 2,400 foot-pounds, full forged battery in mode 3. Okay, that's where we stop. We got 2,400 foot-pounds, could not accomplish the 2,500 with the Forge XC 6.0 battery and the new 2967 high torque impact wrench. Watch this battery as we hammer on this 2,400 foot-pound fastener. Now you can see the whole impact wrench moving around, but you can see more movement in that battery shaking around. That's what that battery isolator is doing for that. Okay, really quickly, we're going to go into mode 4, and this is the auto shut off as well as the auto tighten mode as well. So we're first going to go into bolt removal, and we're going to keep our finger on the trigger. So you see that once it broke it free, it slowed it down, did not stop it. Now let's tighten it back up. Now I'm going to just hold my finger on the trigger with it tightening in the auto shut off mode. So you see my finger's still on the trigger. It only took it so far and then shut the tool off. Now we're going to back this one off. Again, got to a certain point and then slowed it down but did not stop it. So now we're in tighten. So once it hit a couple of times, it shut the tool off. My finger is still on the trigger. So that's what the auto mode in mode 4 is going to do. These high torque impact wrenches are really starting to put out crazy amounts of power. In fact, they're getting past the levels of what a 1/2-inch anvil ought to be putting out. This is a brand new socket. We just bought this when we got the new high torque. So you're talking about wasting a $50 to $100 socket every time we have to test one of these. And we're talking north of 2,000 foot-pounds of breakaway torque. Now, arguably, you can test on different rigs and get different types of numbers, but the bottom line is you can see the damage we're starting to do with a 1/2-inch anvil. It's really time, if you're starting to do that, to step up to a 3/4-inch anvil. Regardless of what that number is that it's outputting, it's a ton of torque, and it's doing a very good job of doing it. We really like the battery isolator. It's doing a great job at removing a lot of that vibration on this tool, because I'm telling you, when you're actually hammering on those fasteners for 10 seconds, 20 seconds at a time, you're really taking a beating, and I'm sure all the electronics in this tool as well. So being able to save those connections at the battery is a great job. We did notice a step up in power on the Forge. I don't know that we can nail it, but it feels like on the Forge battery that you start the tool and then it almost gives it a little boost where you can actually almost feel and hear it come in a second later. It may just be our minds, but we all kind of actually thought we heard it as well as felt it in the tool. But regardless, we did see some power bump in the Forge batteries. We definitely saw charge times that are crazy with the new supercharger and the Forge batteries. Now, obviously, that's an extra expense, and that's a big expense. So let's talk about that. This tool, $299 as a bare tool, so $300 you can get it as a bare tool. If you get it with the kit, we haven't seen a kit with the Forge batteries yet, but with the 5.0 battery, so two 5.0 batteries, a charger, and the tool, you're looking at $500, so $499, and you get that 5-year warranty. Now, if you are interested in these new Forge batteries, one Forge battery is going to set you back $200. Yeah, that's right, $199 for a single XC 6.0 batteries. So if you want two of them, you're going to pay $400. If you want the new supercharger that's going to charge two batteries at a time and is going to do it really fast, especially if you have the Forge batteries. Just this charger is $250 as well. So if you're wanting a battery, a charger, that's $450, and then another, $300 to $500 for the impact wrench. So it's setting you back a little ways. So if you're wanting Milwaukee's top of the heap as far as a 1/2-inch impact wrench, it's the new 2967. Check it out for yourself. It should release sometime in October. We'll have a link in the description as soon as it's available. Also, keep track of us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and even TikTok. And if you don't mind, hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't done so already. And by all means, if you hated our video, well, give us a thumbs down. But would you let us know in the comments why? Have a great day and keep smiling.